I found myself inhabiting the body of an exquisitely beautiful background character in a novel, a woman whose fate was sealed by her own stubborn choices. She was determined to divorce her husband, only to meet a tragic end in a plane crash, forever etched in the story of the male lead's unforgettable first wife, his white moonlight, a fleeting yet pivotal figure. According to the novel's original plot, the male-led Huo Chengxu loved this woman deeply. After her death, years later, he sought solace in a new female lead who bore an uncanny resemblance to her, setting the stage for a heart-wrenching tale of love, betrayal, and redemption. When I arrived in this world, I landed right in the middle of her divorce proceedings. The papers were laid out before me, the ink of her signature moments away from sealing her doom. But I was not one to follow a doomed script. If I was going to live in this story, I would rewrite it entirely. With a resolute heart, I tore the divorce papers to shreds, letting the fragments flutter like snowflakes in a winter storm, and threw myself into Huo Chengxu's arms under his stunned gaze. Why should I let this remarkable man slip away to another woman in some predictable plot twist? Huo Chengxu's voice, deep and masculine, broke through my thoughts. Regarding the asset division, he said, his tone steady yet laced with concern, is there anything you are not satisfied with? I will do my best to meet your needs. It took me a moment to process his words, to fully grasp the surreal reality I had stepped into. I had transmigrated into a melodramatic CEO romance novel, one dripping with angst and addiction, where love was a battlefield of heartbreak and obsession. In stories like these, the male lead was always a towering figure, handsome, accomplished, and haunted by a past love that shone brighter than any star. Huo Chengxu was no exception. The plot typically unfolded with him meeting a new heroine who mirrored his lost love, sparking a tumultuous journey. At first, he would treat her as a mere substitute, his heart cold and dismissive, only to realize too late that he had fallen deeply in love. Then came the desperate pursuit to win her back, a classic arc of regret and redemption. I, however, was the original white moonlight, the one whose shadow loomed over the story. According to the script, I had about 4 years before the new heroine would appear. If I followed the original path and met my tragic end, the story would proceed as written. But I refused to be a stepping stone for someone else's love story. Huo Chengxu slid the divorce papers toward me, even courteously uncapping a pen. I could see the weight of his emotions in his guarded eyes, but I was not about to sigh my life away. Instead, I grabbed the papers and tore them apart, letting the pieces scatter like confetti. Huo Chengxu's expression darkened, his sharp features tightening. He stared at me, his thin lips parting as if to speak. Before he could, I cut him off. "You do not love me," I declared, my voice trembling with feigned indignation. "That is why I was so desperate to divorce you." His forehead creased, veins pulsing faintly as he reminded me, "You were the one who insisted on the divorce." I paused, feigning a moment of realization. Oh, right. I forgot that detail. In the original story, the white moonlight did not love Huo Chengxu. She demanded a divorce repeatedly, pushing his patience to its limits. She even entangled herself in scandals, flirting with other men and dragging his name through the mud. Huo Chengxu, ever the devoted husband, shielded her, even claiming responsibility for her indiscretions to protect her reputation. Such devotion should have softened any heart, but the original character used it to manipulate him, threatening to humiliate him further unless he agreed to the divorce. She was, in every sense, testing the boundaries of his love. I felt a flicker of doubt as I met his cold, piercing gaze, but I pressed on, channeling the original character's audacity. "So, it is my fault, then. After we married, you buried yourself in work, neglecting me entirely. Everything I have done was to get your attention." My voice rose with dramatic flair as I propped one foot on the sofa, glaring down at him if he were the villain in this tale. To my surprise, Huo Chengxu did not argue. He simply watched me, his expression unreadable. Then, the corner of his mouth twitched upward in a faint, almost resigned smile. "Do as you wish," he said softly, his voice carrying a quiet weight. Without another word, he grabbed his suit jacket, draped it over his arm, and strode out of the villa, leaving me in the echoing silence. His assistant, Zhong Cheng, who had witnessed the entire exchange, looked between us with a conflicted expression. Finally, he spoke up. "Madam, the CEO truly loves you. He's just not good with words. If you could take the first step, it would make all the difference." Before I could respond, Huo Chengxu's voice boomed from the doorway. Zhong Cheng, the assistant, flinched and scurried after him, his face a mix of guilt and embarrassment. Zhong Cheng's words lingered in my mind. He was right, the original character's relentless defiance had worn down even Huo Chengxu's steadfast love. If I wanted to change the story, I needed to win him over. Determined, I rushed to the kitchen and asked Aunt Wang, our housekeeper, to prepare Huo Chengxu's favorite dishes. "I am taking lunch to him at the office," I announced. Aunt Wang's eyes welled up with emotion, though no tears fell. "The heavens have finally opened their eyes," she said, her voice thick with relief. I felt a pang of embarrassment, but brushed it off. Soon, I was on my way to Huo Chengxu's company, carrying a meticulously prepared lunchbox. Aunt Wang had insisted I claim credit for the meal. "Tell him you made it yourself," she urged. "It will touch his heart." I nodded, though the idea of lying made my stomach twist. As I approached Huo Chengxu's office, I overheard a heated conversation. "Brother, how can you tolerate her cheating on you like that?" a voice scoffed. It was Lin Xiao'an, Huo Chengxu's childhood friend and, in the original story, a scheming antagonist who later fell for the new heroine and turned against Huo Chengxu. "Just divorce her already. With your status, you could have any woman you want." Lin Xiao'an was the only one in this world who seemed determined to tear Huo Chengxu and me apart. While reading the story, I had not thought much of it, but now, living it, I refused to let anyone sabotage our marriage. Without hesitation, I kicked open the door and stormed in, pointing at Lin Xiao'an. "If you have so much free time, go lick a lamppost instead of stirring up trouble here," I snapped. "Are you so desperate to meddle that you want to take my place?" Lin Xiao'an's face flushed with anger, his fists clenching so tightly his knuckles cracked. For a moment, I thought he might lunge at me. Sensing the tension, I dove into Huo Chengxu's arms, pointing at Lin Xiao'an accusingly. "Darling, look at him. Not only is he trying to push you to divorce me, but now he wants to hit me." The room fell silent. Everyone froze, stunned by the scene. Huo Chengxu's gaze lowered to me, his hand hovering as if to rest on my back. After a moment's hesitation, he let it fall. A strange disappointment flickered in my chest, though I could not pinpoint why. Still, he stood by me, his voice, low and commanding, cut through the air. "Get out." Lin Xiao'an smirked, assuming the order was for me. "See, my brother told you to leave." I almost pitied his cluelessness. How could someone be so oblivious? Before I could retort, Huo Chengxu's icy gaze shifted to Lin Xiao'an. I said, "You get out." Lin Xiao'an's smug expression faltered, replaced by disbelief. Zhong Cheng, ever the dutiful assistant, stepped in to escort him out. "Young Master Lin, this way, please. The CEO and Madam of private matters to attend to." He winked at me subtly before closing the door, leaving Huo Chengxu and me alone. The sudden intimacy of the moment hit me. I was still perched on Huo Chengxu's lap, my arms around his neck, his chiseled jawline inches from my face. His long legs, clad in tailored trousers, radiated warmth that I could feel even through the fabric. Embarrassed, I squirmed to slide off, but Huo Chengxu let out an exasperated sound. His large, warm hand pressed against my back, pinning me in place. With a swift motion, he turned me to face his desk, where the lunchbox sat. "What is that?" he asked, his tone curious. "Lunch," I replied, forcing confidence. "I made it for you." The lie slipped out smoothly, though guilt prickled at me. Huo Chengxu opened the box, and the aroma of the food filled the room. He nodded approvingly. Not bad. I exhaled, relieved, thinking he might let me go. Instead, he picked up the chopsticks and began eating, still holding me in his lap. I hesitated before speaking. Darling, does it not feel awkward to eat with me sitting here? His movements paused. His grip on the chopsticks tightened, his knuckles whitening. After a tense moment, he muttered, "Get off." Then, I scrambled down, but his expression darkened further. He slammed the chopsticks down. "I am done. Take it and go." I blinked, stunned. Was every CEO this mercurial? Wasting food is shameful, I protested, but he ignored me, turning to sign documents with a furious scribble. Frustrated, I packed up the lunchbox and stormed out. Outside, Zhong Cheng was whistling cheerfully. The office door slammed open behind me, and he turned, surprised. "Madam, leaving so soon?" His eyes widened with a sudden, absurd thought. Is the CEO not capable? I shot him a withering look. Your CEO is too temperamental. I cannot deal with him. The open door ensured Huo Chengxu heard every word, but he remained silent, his back to us, exuding an icy aura. I could not fathom what I had done to upset him. Men who refused to communicate were the worst. As I left the building, regret gnawed at me. I should have stayed, faced his mood head-on. After all, I was the one determined to win him over. Lost in thought, my phone buzzed. It was Song Mingjin, a close friend of the original character, known for her love of drinking and men. She invited me to a bar, and, feeling restless, I agreed. The bar was a chaotic swirl of music and lights. Song Mingjin was already there, her eyes glued to a muscular dancer on stage, howling like a wolf in heat. The atmosphere was overwhelming, and I felt out of place. Two young men, regulars, who knew the original character, greeted us enthusiastically. One, with heavily lined eyes, winked at me. "Sister Dine, you're here." I nodded awkwardly, sinking into the booth beside Song Mingjin, watching the performance with detached boredom. Unbeknownst to me, someone snapped a photo of the scene and sent it straight to Huo Chengxu. When Song Mingjin finally turned to me, she asked, "Has Huo Chengxu agreed to the divorce yet?" I nodded. He did. Her face lit up, and she pulled me into a jubilant spin, celebrating my supposed freedom. But I stopped her. I did not agree, though. She stumbled, nearly dropping me. "What? Why not? Is that not what you always wanted?" I sighed, adopting a wistful tone. "Huo Chengxu is too perfect. Being married to him made me insecure, so I tested his love in all the wrong ways. But I have thought it through. I want to start over with him, to be the couple everyone envies." Song Mingjin scoffed. "Poor Huo Chengxu. Stuck with you." Her bluntness stung, but it was the kind of honesty only a true friend could deliver. Suddenly, a commotion interrupted us. A young girl in a school uniform, clutching a mop, was being harassed by a leering middle-aged man. Pretending to be innocent, he sneered, his hands wandering. "You work in a place like this. You are innocent. I am just a cleaner." The girl protested, her voice trembling but firm. Her fingers gripped the mop tightly, as if anchoring her resolve. The man only grew bolder, mocking her uniform as part of some perverse role-play. Song Mingjin sprang up, her eyes blazing. "Dine, let's teach this creep a lesson." Before the man could touch the girl, Song Mingjin grabbed his arm, twisting it behind his back. A sickening crack echoed as his wrist broke, and he collapsed, whimpering apologies. Song Mingjin shoved him away and led the girl outside. "Stay away from places like this," I told the girl gently. "It is dangerous for a young woman." Her head bowed, her voice soft. "I do not want to, but my grandmother is sick, and this job pays well." The bar, a playground for the wealthy, offered cleaners 500 yuan a day, a fortune for someone in need. A chill ran through me as a suspicion formed. "Are you Jiang Ruiyan?" I asked. Her bright eyes widened. "How did you know my name?" My heart sank. She was the female lead, appearing years earlier than in the original story. The world spun, and darkness claimed me. When I awoke, I was sprawled on the soft sofa in our Villa's living room, the crystal chandelier above casting dazzling light into my eyes. A familiar hand offered me a glass of water. "You're awake," Huo Chengxu said, his voice softer than usual, his handsome face softened by the warm glow. I sat up, sipping the water, my mind racing. Jiang Ruiyan's early appearance suggested my presence had altered the story's timeline, like a butterfly's wings stirring a storm. As I grappled with this, I noticed Huo Chengxu watching me intently, his gaze unsettling. Startled, I choked, spraying water across his jaw and collarbone. "Sorry," I grabbed tissues to wipe him down, but in my haste, I tripped, falling against his chest. His firm muscles tensed under my hands, and my face flushed. His hand caught mine, pulling me closer. His eyes burned with intensity. "Did you not say you like muscular men? I have muscles too. Look at me instead of those dancers." His words, laced with a playful jealousy, stunned me. Was this the same stoic Huo Chengxu? I laughed, spotting a stack of photos on the coffee table, images of the bar's dancers in provocative poses. His phone lit up with messages from Zhong Cheng, revealing an absurd plan. Zhong had seen me at the bar, assumed I was into muscular men, and convinced Huo Chengxu to wear a black mesh shirt to win me over. I burst out laughing, tears streaming down my face. "Why are you so adorable?" I teased, catching the rare sight of embarrassment on his face. The next morning, Aunt Wong handed me another lunchbox, this time for two. At Huo Chengxu's company, I spotted Jiang Ruiyan, struggling with a stack of documents that scattered when she bumped into someone. She sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face, her small frame trembling with despair. In the original story, her life was marked by tragedy: her parents' death, her grandmother's illness, and her eventual dependence on Huo Chengxu. I handed her a tissue, and she threw herself into my arms, sobbing. "Sister," she cried, clinging to me. Moved by her vulnerability, I decided to protect her, not as a rival, but as a sister. Later, in Huo Chengxu's office, he reacted coldly to Jiang Ruiyan's presence, ordering her out. I chided him for his harshness, wrapping my arms around his waist. "From now on, you can only be gentle with me and your mother, of course." His eyes darkened with desire, and he kissed me fiercely, our bodies tumbling onto the sofa. The moment was shattered when Lin Xiao'an barged in, brandishing photos of me at the bar. "Your wife's been sneaking around," he taunted. But Huo Chengxu, unfazed, hurled the photos back at him. "If you slander my wife again, you are no brother of mine." Lin Xiao'an, devastated by the rejection, stormed out, vowing to expose me. Later, I caught him harassing Jiang Ruiyan, trying to charm her. I stepped in, warning her about his character. To my surprise, she revealed a hidden truth. She was my long-lost sister, kidnapped at birth. Our resemblance was uncanny, and I embraced her as family, offering her a job as my assistant. As time passed, Huo Chengxu and I grew closer, our bond deepening. But a nagging doubt haunted me. My memories of the real world were fading, replaced by the vivid reality of this one. Was I truly LCC Dian, or a stranger inhabiting her body? The question tormented me until a piercing headache overwhelmed me. "Huo Chengxu, who am I?" I whispered before collapsing. In a dream, I saw us as childhood sweethearts in a brighter, simpler story, a tale of sunlit summers and innocent love. But after our marriage, something shifted. I became a puppet, watching helplessly as LCC Dian's personality warped, driving a wedge between us until her tragic death. Jiang Ruiyan's arrival revealed the truth. There was no transmigration. I was LCC Dian, my story twisted by an author's whim. When I awoke, Huo Chengxu's weary face greeted me. He had not slept in days, his fear of losing me palpable. "You are still you," he said, his voice trembling with conviction. I hooked my pinky with his, promising never to leave again. 3 years later, we had a daughter, Nini, and our life was filled with joy. Song Mingjin remained a free-spirited sea queen, while Jiang Ruiyan, now my trusted assistant, had returned from studying abroad. Lin Xiao'an, still chasing her, arrived at our home with a rose in his mouth, only to find her with a new boyfriend. His heart shattered, and I could not help but revel in his defeat. As we prepared for Nini's birthday, I reflected on our journey. LCC Diane was not just stubborn or gentle, she was a fighter, refusing to let fate dictate her story. With Huo Chengxu by my side, we had rewritten our ending, crafting a love that defied the pages of any novel.